Hello, you're watching QPVN News. I'm Anh Tuấn and here's the headlines. Affirming role of military in ensuring defense, security and cultural and socio-economic development. Vietnam and Cambodia foster military and defense cooperation. Finding new directions to revive Craft Village. On the morning of June the 25th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính attended the plenary session of the 15th World Economic Forum, or WEF for short, annual meeting of the new champions in Dalian City, Liaoning Province. In the third consecutive time attending the WEF, the Prime Minister delivered a speech at the opening plenary session, along with Li Qiang, Premier of the People's Republic of China, State Council of the People's Republic of China, and Andrzej Duda, President of Poland. In his address, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính outlined that the future of the globe hinges on three primary factors and is shaped and propelled by three key areas. Sharing Vietnam's story, the Prime Minister said that its success over the past nearly 4 decades is attributed to the key terms: reform, innovation, and integration. From a 30-year war-torn, embargoed country, Vietnam currently stands among the world's top 40 economies. Vietnam suggests that the WEF, its partners, and the business community enhance their roles in offering guidance, providing support and advocating public-private partnership, while also taking the lead in guiding the development. There is a Chinese proverb that says, "A single tree does not make a forest," and President Ho Chi Minh saying, "Unity, unity, great unity. Success, success, great success." The Prime Minister calls for every nation, enterprise and individual should unite in pursuit of the next frontiers for growth, prosperous development of the world, and a happier, better life for all people. On the sidelines of the new champions of the World Economic Forum, or WEF in short, in Dalian, China, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính had a meeting with Polish President Andrzej Duda. The Prime Minister said Vietnam always attaches great importance to the development of traditional friendship and multifaceted cooperation with Poland, and always recalls the valuable support and assistance that Poland rendered to Vietnam in the course of protecting and building the country. Prime Minister Chính proposed the two countries continue to develop the relationship through the exchange of delegations at all levels, especially high-level ones, and boost cooperation in economy, trade and investment, culture, and promote people-to-people exchange. President Andrzej Duda expressed his impression of Vietnam's socio-economic development achievements, emphasizing that Vietnam is currently Poland's largest partner in Southeast Asia. He also highly appreciated the contribution of the Vietnamese community to Poland's socio-economic development and the traditional relationship between the two countries. The Polish president expected that Vietnam would create favorable conditions for Polish businesses to export goods to Vietnam, as well as strengthen cooperation in new fields such as renewable energy and tourism. Expressing their pleasure at the development of the bilateral relations of the two countries in different fields to mark the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic relations in 2025, the two leaders agreed to soon upgrade the bilateral relations between the two countries to a new height. On the afternoon of June the 25th, General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, presided over a conference of the Central Military Commission Standing Committee. Attending the conference was Senior Lieutenant General Trịnh Văn Quyết, Chairman of the General Political Department, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, and Deputy Defense Minister, Senior Lieutenant General Võ Minh Lương, Deputy Defense Minister, and leaders of the Ministry of National Defense, the General Staff, and the General Political Department of Politics. At the conference, the Standing Committee of the Central Military Commission reviewed and discussed preliminary report on military and defense work in the first 6 months of 2024, directions for the remaining half of the year, draft conclusion of the Central Military Commission on the leadership results in implementing military and defense tasks, and building the Military Party Committee in the first half of 2024, and key tasks in the last 6 months of this year. The conference also looked into the draft directive of the Central Military Commission Standing Committee on Party Congresses at all levels of the Military Party Committee, decisions to establish the organizing committee and subcommittees, the document compilation team of the 12th Military Party Congress in the 2025-2030 tenure. At the same time, the report on the results of immolation and commendation work throughout the military was also reviewed and approved. Minister Zhang requested that reports and draft conclusions must be generalized with consensus, demonstrating outstanding results and achievements of the whole military in the task of providing strategic advice on military and defense affairs, affirming the important role and contribution of the military to cultural and socio-economic development, and assurance of security, social order and safety nationwide. He asked units and agencies to continue improving the quality of research and advisory work, drastically implement the goals and tasks of 2024. General Zhang said that based on close-to-reality assessments and lessons learned from military defense task performance, agencies and units need to proactively coordinate with agencies of the National Assembly, the government, ministries and central agencies to well perform the task of perfecting institutions. In Hanoi, Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Văn Nghĩa, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, received General Kiev Safat, Director of the Personnel Department of the Cambodian Ministry of National Defense, who is on a working visit to Vietnam. General Nghĩa congratulated the country and people of Cambodia on their important achievements, including the successful organization of the 47th anniversary of the journey to overthrow of the Pol Pot genocidal regime on June the 20th, affirming that Vietnam always attaches great importance to the consolidation and development of the relationship of good neighbors, traditional friendship, comprehensive cooperation, and long-term sustainability with Cambodia. General Nghĩa emphasized that military and defense cooperation between the two countries continued to develop substantially and effectively in such areas as delegation exchange at all levels, training and collection and repatriation of remains of Vietnamese volunteer soldiers and advisors missing in action in Cambodia. At the same time, he reiterated that the Vietnam People's Armies always support the maintenance of effective cooperation between the two sides. General Kiev Safat expressed gratitude to General Nghĩa for the reception of the delegation, while briefing him on the results of the talks that took place earlier between the delegation of the Personnel Department of Cambodian Ministry of National Defense and the Department of Military Forces under the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army. The results of the implementation of the 2024 protocol between the two forces and main activities. On June the 25th in Hanoi, the Army Broadcasting Center held an experience exchange session with a mission of the General Department of Military Services under the Cambodian Ministry of National Defense on the occasion of the mission's visit to Vietnam. Both sides are determined that they will continue to coordinate and further promote preserving historical memories in the coming time. The film Journey to Save the Country clearly demonstrates the importance of this work, thereby refuting information that causes division in solidarity between the two nations. At the same time, exchanging television works promoting the images of militaries of both countries, as well as information and dissemination of information about the work of searching, collecting and repatriating the remains of Vietnamese volunteer soldiers and advisors who sacrificed in Cambodia. Within the framework of the Vietnam-India Young Officer Exchange held in India, the delegation of young Vietnamese officers is participating in many practical and meaningful exchange activities. More to follow. Visiting the Indian Defense Academy, the delegation of young Vietnamese officers congratulated the unit on its 75th foundation anniversary and expressed admiration for its history, development and training activities. The Indian Defense Academy's commanding officer expressed confidence in the sustainable and profound diplomatic relations between the two countries in general and the military-defense relationship between the two militaries in particular, while highlighting the command of foreign languages and competence of Vietnamese military students who are studying at the academy. During the visit to Maratha Light Infantry Regiment, the Vietnamese delegates talked with the unit's officers and soldiers and toured its training facilities. The commanding officer of the Maratha Light Infantry Regiment said that though he had never been to Vietnam, he studied a lot about the history, birth, development and combat of the Vietnam People's Army. The delegation also witnessed a traditional martial arts performance by officers of the Maratha Light Infantry Regiment. Coming up next, strong recovery seen in industrial production. Finding new directions to revive craft village. According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, the industrial production index for the entire industry climbed by more than 7% in the first half of this year compared to the same period the previous year. Many more signs reflect a positive recovery in momentum from business operations. The index of industrial production is the first 6 months of 2024 expanded by 7.1% against that in the same period of 2023. Such recovery is thanks to major contributions from the processing and manufacturing industries, the production and distribution of electricity, gas, hot water, steam and air conditioning. Vietnam's industrial sector experienced positive growth with 55 out of 63 provinces and centrally run cities nationwide. According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, export orders have increased, leading to a continuous positive performance in import-export activities in the first 5 months of the year. The total import-export turnover of goods increased 16.03% compared to the same period in 2023. Hanoi City has just had an addition of 15 craft villages recognized as Hanoi's craft villages and traditional craft villages. As a result, the city has a total of 1,500 craft villages with crafts and craft villages. This is a great potential which positively contributes to local economic development while attracting tourists. So both the government and people have been making efforts to promote the value of craft products, thus stabilizing people's life and improving the value of the products. Born in Chuang traditional craft village of making conical hats in Thanh Oai district, artisan Ta Thu Hương has attached her life to this craft since she was 7 years old. Through nearly 50 years of preserving the craft, made efforts to perfect the products which are more suitable to customers' demand. I seek ways to make our traditional conical hats become more perfect and creative, so I use traditional materials combined with colorful silk to make products more beautiful and luxurious. It's silk products of Phung Sa Weaving Village in Mỹ Đức district. Through many ups and downs, although the number of households maintaining the craft is gradually reducing, Thuận is always dedicated and looking for new direction to revive the traditional silk weaving craft. To make Phung Sa silk products different from other products, we use silkworms as workers to weave silk products, especially to make unique products. I weave silk from lotus fibers. With the idea to turn silkworms into weavers and weave lotus silk, artisan Phan Thị Thuận has become a cultural ambassador of Phung Sa Weaving Village, making the village a favorite destination of tourists. I love the craft and come here to study for a long time. I've been working since I was 40 years old. Now I'm 60 years old. Craft village products are associated with all the joys and sorrows of the people. Above all, it's their pride because of the many ups and downs, they have not only preserved the craft handed down by their ancestors, but also promoting the craft, creating sustainable values for traditional products of their villages. This is the end of the QPVN News today. Remember to watch our news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.